Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, thanks for coming tonight. Please record the council attendance, please.
Mr. Mayor, there are 7 council members present and 5 county commissioners present.
Okay, item 3, approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Duran. Aye. Niemeyer.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tiltonburn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Okay, item 4, public hearing action on City Council Ordinance 22-037 and Brookings County Commission Ordinance 22-05. Ordinance is adopting the joint jurisdiction zoning ordinance for the City of Brookings and Brookings County. Community Development Director Mike Struck will review this item.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, and county commission members. We're here tonight for the second reading and public hearing on an ordinance adopting the joint jurisdiction zoning ordinance for the City of Brookings and Brookings County. The original ordinance was prepared in 1980, and it was just time for an update. And so city and county agreed and went through a quite extensive process. We had a joint jurisdiction committee that spent through the zoning regs and the map, and then provided a recommendation to the respective planning commissions of both the city and the county. Along with that process, Luke Mueller from First District Association of Local Governments kind of helped lead us in these efforts, and we're pleased to reach this point. We had to take a small pause during a pandemic, and then we were able to reconvene and continue working through this. Of the ordinance. On the administrative side of the ordinance, if properties are zoned ag, they would follow this joint jurisdiction or the proposed ordinance before you tonight. If they're zoned anything other than agriculture, they would follow the city's zoning regulations, and that's due to the fact that it's anticipated to be annexed into the city, so they might as well just follow the city's zoning regs from the get-go. There's also the creation of a Board of Adjustment, which would be a 5-member Board of Adjustment consisting of 3 county representatives and 2 city representatives. That board would be responsible for hearing and acting on variance requests as well as conditional uses. With a zoning request, it would still go to the respective planning commissions and meet jointly of the city and county, and they would put forth a recommendation to this body that's here tonight, representing the county commission and the city council. With that, I guess I would stand for any questions that you may have. I think you've had an opportunity to review the ordinance. Both the Brookings County State's Attorney and the Brookings City Attorney have reviewed it and provided their blessing. So with that, I would stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Michael. Open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comments towards this item? Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Does the council have any questions or comments? I too would like to thank Luke from District 1. Did a great smash-up job. Kind of guided us all the way through this thing. Was open-minded to our comments and set the plate for us. Please call the roll.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tiltonburn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Duran. Aye.
Motion passes. Now I'll turn it over to Commissioner Boersma for the County Commission side.
I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments by commissioners?
Yes, I just want to say I appreciate all the work that went into this, especially to our zoning boards, city zoning board, county zoning board, put a lot of work into it, Luke, and everything like that. Appreciate all their work, and I'm definitely for this moving on, but I would like to see down the road some type of a conversation of a housing component in this joint jurisdiction area. We have, shortage of affordable housing, we have shortage of workforce housing, and I think this area has potential to alleviate some of that stress on the housing market. As most people know, there's probably, if you came to Brookings right now, I said, I want to look at houses, I could show you one house that you can walk through that's in a certain price range. And that's not just the joint jurisdiction, that's a huge issue. But we've done a lot of research on it. We've had groups that I've been involved in, and we have these things that we can do, and it just doesn't seem that we've been able to get anything move off the center. And I think some of the opportunity would be here in the joint jurisdiction area for that. So I'm approval of this, but I'd like to see some further discussion, whether it's between city council and county commission to talk, or if it's, city manager and that kind of thing, to look at some options, that there's some compromise to be able to have some type of housing, option in the joint jurisdiction. Because as, Mike said, it's ag right now, but if you want it to go to any type of housing, which then would turn around the city's jurisdiction, if there's a way to try to accomplish that. And not just putting it all in the city, the county also has restrictive rules about housing too. So I think there's both entities I would like to see work on those options down the road. But right now, there just isn't any option. And I'd like to see some type of planned development residential district option, that if somebody has an idea of residences in this joint jurisdiction or even out in the county, that they'd have that option to bring the proposal to a board. And so that's my 2 cents on it, I guess I would say there. But I want to see this pass so we can get this going, because there's been a lot of hard work put into this, and I'd like to see it pass too.
Thank you, Commissioner Krogman. Any other comments? Commissioner Pierce?
I served on the original board that started working on the joint jurisdiction ordinance. And then during this whole time, I had the pleasure of serving on the city planning and zoning board. And because of that, and when we had our joint meetings, what was said very clearly by both of those boards is that the residential issue we couldn't resolve as a board, and they thought that that was a decision that should be made by the elected officials, that it should come back to the city council and the county commission, and that those two groups should come up with a plan, if possible, for residential development in the joint jurisdiction. It may not be possible, but I would encourage you not to send it back to the two planning and zoning boards, because they both were unanimous on the fact that they thought this group here today should be the group that made that decision.
Thank you, Commissioner Pierce. Any other comments by the county commissioner?
I guess I would like to question Mr. Struck. You mentioned the 5-member joint board made up of 3 county zoning members and 2 city zoning. Would they be current zoning board members or not?
The ordinance speaks to how they were to be appointed. I believe it's a county commission member, potentially a city council member, potential planning commission member from the county as well as from the city, and then the third member could be a potential at-large.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments?
Just a quick one. I also worked on this for a number of years in the joint jurisdiction. I appreciate the cooperation that Mike has given us and the City Planning Commission to Ryan's comments about future housing outside of the joint jurisdiction area. There's a lot of things that the county commission needs to look at too, as far as developments outside the joint jurisdiction area as it relates to affordable housing, multiple housing opportunities. So, I mean, those are discussions the county needs to have that don't necessarily affect the city, but I think that we will be looking at those things in the future as requested for developments outside the joint jurisdiction area and outside the city limits. So we're all open to looking at those discussions. We'll see where they go. This was the first step in getting this set, because it's taken so long to get it accomplished, that all those other things that Ryan had mentioned, I think, are things that we can look forward to working on in the future as joint boards, joint committees. So again, I want to thank Luke for the work that he did, and I also want to thank Bob and Richard on our department for their help, and Mike for his help. So thank you.
If there's nothing further from the commission, Jenna, will you call the roll, please?
Pierce. Yes. Bartley.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Krogman.
Aye.
Boersma.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn the joint city council, county commission portion of this meeting.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. This portion, please call the roll.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye. Aye.
Portion of this meeting is adjourned. We'll have a brief recess to reset the room for the remaining county council or city council agenda. All right, we'll start the meeting up again. Open forum, is there any member of the public who wishes to address the council on an item not listed on tonight's agenda? And we have nobody, so we're going to move on to the next one. Approval of the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, does the council have any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Tilton Burn.
Aye.
Okay, item 7, presentations and reports. We have City of Brookings Employee Service Awards recognition, and Susan Rodert, our HR Director, will present this item.
Mayor, council members, in the month of December, we always recognize our employees and visit the departments, and Paul hands out their awards to them, so we're going to provide pictures and of all of our wonderful employees. So, all right, so community development. The Brookings Public Library, Alice Hayes of 10 years and Nancy Swenson of 5 years. Brookings Municipal Liquor Store, Andrew Eklund, 10 years of service. Park, Recreation, and Forestry Department, Paul Erickson of 20 years and Bill DeBlanc, 15 years. The Police Department, Christina Larson, 15 years, Brian Franklin, 15 years, Johnny Weinrich, 10 years, Rhett Larson, 5 years, Jacob Vukovic, 5 years, Travis Asmus, 5 years, and Eric Lee, 5 years. Our Solid Waste and Landfill Department, Tim Huber, 25 years, and Calvin Cook, 15 years. And our Street Department with Martin Wagner, 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And any comments from council or our city manager?
Yeah, I would just like to thank all of our tenured employees we have within our organization. I would like to thank all of them for their time and their effort. A lot of times, we never see the employees in action. You know, great examples of snow removal, responding to calls from the fire, police department. I always worry about those employees being out late at night taking care of the city, but I know that their passion is to provide the service for this community. One of those employees I'd like to recognize tonight is Susan. Tonight's Susan's last meeting. I know Mike prepared, I think, a 5-page letter, 10-page note for Susan, but just want to comment that it's been a pleasure working with Susan over the past 3 years plus. We'll greatly miss Susan and look forward to the future.
Thanks, Paul. Any other comments from council? Okay. I always try to remind everybody in the city of Brookings that we appoint 6 employees for every 100 citizens. Our next town that has a larger amount of employees has 1.2 employees per 100. So that's saying that the next city is getting their work done with twice as many employees as we do. We're a lean city, and we're really proud of the efficiency and the high level of competency that we have in our city employees. So I just want to remind everybody again, I do that every time I get a chance. So, item 8A, action on resolution 22-095, a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for 2022-05 STI Main Avenue South and A Street South intersection reconstruction. Bose Construction Incorporated. Charlie Richter, our city engineer, will review.
Good evening, everyone. Whoops. Let's turn this down a little bit. I'm here tonight requesting approval of Resolution 22-95 of change order number 1 for the Main Avenue South and 8th Street South intersection. This change order includes message board rental, the change to thermoplastic line painting, additional water and sewer work for BMU, and the balancing of quantities for the completion of the project. The original contract was for $612,262.45, which included work for BMU. That was proposed change order is for $61,359.45. This change order brings the total value of the contract to $673,621.90. Staff recommends approval.
Thanks, Charlie. Entertain a motion to.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, does the council have any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
All right, ordinances, first readings. Item 9A, introduction and first reading on ordinance 22-043, an ordinance rezoning 18.84 acres of BMU water treatment plant addition. Community Development Director Mike Struck will review this item.
The ordinance before you tonight is for a rezoning. This is on the east side of 34th Avenue. Brands entrance. Essentially, this is the Brookings Municipal Utilities property that they purchased for their new water treatment plant. The proposal is to rezone from agricultural zoning district to an industrial I-1 zoning district. We felt that it just fits more closely with the type of facility that they want to construct in that area, and that with the various setbacks, lot area requirements, the I-1 fits more appropriately with a water treatment facility. With that, it does come as a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and staff supports the request, and I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Any public comment on this item? Does the council have any questions or comments? All right, second reading and action on this item is scheduled for January 10, 2023. Item 10A, public hearing and action on ordinance 22-041, an ordinance amending ordinance section 82-521 and pertaining to maximum duration of parking in public parking lots in the city of Brookings. Paul Brusino, our city manager, will review this item for us.
Thank you, Mayor. City. The designation of public parking lots to have a maximum of duration from either 24 hours or 72 hours. Ordinance 22-041 before you would allow for the designation of a 48 maximum duration parking for public parking lots. The Government Center Advisory Committee for the Brookings City County Government Center provided a recommendation for signing the west parking lot of this facility as public parking to create awareness, as well as placing a 48-hour maximum duration for the parking lot. Staff does recommend approval and will stand for any questions.
Is there any public comment? Public hearing is closed. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any council comments or questions? Councilmember Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm assuming this is if there's any expected impact on staff parking or public parking during business hours.
There's none expected for staff parking or business to an extent. We'll monitor it to verify. The only public parking that we're going to be signing is directly to the west, so the west parking lot. The southern parking lot is predominantly staff parking. We also have quite a bit of off-street parking surrounding the center as well.
And then I just have a comment with that. I just want to thank you for recognizing the need for more public parking downtown. I think it's talked about a lot, and it's a premium commodity, and this is a somewhat easy change that we can make to offer that to the community. So thank you for recognizing that.
Any other questions or comments by council?
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 10B, public hearing and action on a request to change the on-sale liquor operating agreement with Denmal Hospitality Group Incorporated, Dennis Biefeld owner, to doing business as Boss's Pizza at 2515 6th Street, Brookings, South Dakota. City Clerk Bonnie Foster will review this item.
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, Denwell Hospitality Group has requested this change to their current liquor operating agreement, which was entered into with the city council. This change is to change the doing portion as part of that operating agreement from the lodge to Boss's Pizzeria. Dennis Bielfeld, Denwell Hospitality Group, will retain ownership management of that liquor license, and he's entering into a management restaurant agreement with Boss's Pizza. This is allowable via state law, as Denwell will continue to report the sales tax and utilize their own employer identification number. If either of those two entities would change, we would be here with a transfer of the license itself, not an update to the operating agreement. City Council approval will allow this update to take place, and we will notify the state if it's approved. Mr. Newborg with Boss's Pizzeria is here this evening. If you have any questions, Dennis Bielfeld is unable to be here as he's not feeling very well.
Okay, open the public hearing on this item. Is there any public comment? This is your opportunity, sir, to come up and introduce yourself.
My name is actually Dallas Wilkinson. Partner. He's unable to be here tonight. But Mr. Mayor and council members, thank you for having me here in the city of Brookings. We've been welcomed with open arms. It's been a blessing for the other areas in the state that I've had opportunities to be a part of businesses and restaurants. This has by far been the most welcome I've felt in a city. So thank you. It's been amazing. I think that Boss's Pizza, well, the delivery service has been in the town before. This is more of a dine-in restaurant as well as a banquet facility. And we're just really excited. My partner, Darren, and myself has been in restaurant industry for, between us, we have over 30 years experience. We're just really excited to provide that service. As we have started to bring our menu out the last 4 days, the reception has been overwhelming, almost to the point where it's been hard to keep up. So we thank you for that welcome and just ask for just a little bit of patience as we get all the things running and our policies and just our operations up to speed. But it has been exciting, and we're looking forward to provide that service here to you. And if there's any questions as far as the specifics of what we're looking to do here, I'd be happy to entertain any of those questions. I just wanted to put a face. Darren is the operating partner. He'll be up here full time, and then I will also be up here as well. But we are in a 50-50 partnership between the two of us there. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Any other public comments, questions? Close the public hearing on this. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Council have any questions or comments? I would just say that it's always fun to have another alternative for a dining experience. So, welcome to Brookings. Please call the roll.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item 10C, public hearing and action on Resolution 22-102, a resolution accepting and awarding the bid for recyclable processing and marketing. Our Public Works Director, John Thompson, will review this item for us.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. John Thompson with Public Works. Item number 10C requests that your council adopt a resolution and award the bid for processing and marketing the city's residential single-stream recycling materials to Waste Connections of South Dakota Incorporated, doing business as Cook's Waste Paper and Recycling, and authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with Cook's for a term of 5 years effective January 1st, 2023. In late November, staff initiated the public bid process, and we received one bid from Cook's Waste Paper and Recycling. The bid of $60 per ton is equivalent to the current rate that the city is paying, and providing this single-stream recycling service to your city residents aligns with your council's strategic initiative of sustainability. That concludes staff's presentation. Available for any questions.
Open comment or questions? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Does the council have any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 10D, public hearing and action on Resolution 22-097, a resolution of intent to lease real property at Brookings Airport to M&C Partners LLC. We'll present this item.
Good evening again. I'm here in front of City Council requesting approval of Resolution 22-97 of a land lease at the Brookings Regional Airport for a hangar to M&C Partners LLC. The proposed yearly lease rate starting in 2023 will be $564.48 and will be increased for the term of 25 years. This resolution in front of you tonight, as required by state law, requires all leases above $500 a year for a duration longer than 120 days to be approved by City Council. State law also requires that this hearing be properly posted for 10 days prior to the meeting, which was done. M&C Partners LLC has been leasing at the airport since 2012 and has been a respectable tenant for the hangar. Due to M&C Partners LLC's good standing at the airport, staff recommends approval of the land lease.
Thanks, Charlie. Open. See no public comments. Public hearing is closed. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any council comments, questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 10E, public hearing and action on Resolution 22-092, a resolution of intent to lease real property to Lyle Booth. Am I pronouncing that right, Charlie?
I believe so.
Okay. For agricultural haying in Section 11-T 109 North R50 West, Main Avenue South and 32nd Street South. City Engineer Charlie Richter will review this item also.
Requesting City Council to allow the city to award a bid and to enter an agreement with Lyle Booth for the city hay lease located at the intersection of Main Avenue South and 32nd Street South. On hay lease and received 4 bids. Of those 4 bids, Lyle Booth was the highest bid of $100 per acre for a total of $1,800 a year. 1 year with the right to renew for 2 additional years if agreeable to the city and the bidder. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Charlie. Open to public. Any public comment? Seeing none, close the hearing. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved second. Council have any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 10F, public hearing and action on Resolution 22-100, a resolution of intent for agricultural haying on Section 21-T110 North R50 West, west of the Brookings Regional Airport. Our city engineer will present this item also.
Good evening again. I'm here in front of you requesting a City Council approval of Resolution 22-100 to allow the city to award a bid and to enter into agreement with MC Hay for the city hay lease located west of the city airport. On December 6th, the city 5 bids. Of those 5 bids, MC Hay was the highest bid of $141.50 per acre for a total of $12,027.50 per year. The proposed lease will be for 1 year with a right to renew for 2 to the city and the bidder. Staff recommends approval.
Thanks, Charlie. Open the public hearing on this item. Comment, close the public hearing, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Council have any questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 10G, public hearing and action on Resolution -098, resolution of intent to lease real property to MC Hay for agricultural cropland in Section 19-T1 R 49 West, 32nd Avenue and Capitol Street. Mike Struck will present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The resolution before you tonight is to authorize the city manager to cropland in the Weiss Industrial Park. We went through a bidding process in early December, and we received 4 bids for this cropland, of which MC Hay was the highest bidder at $275 per acre. It'd be an annual payment of $8,250. We typically do this with our vacant industrial land, as it helps generate some additional revenue, but also helps with weed control, so that the city is not expending additional resources to manage that. Staff recommends approval. Similar lease agreements that have the ability to enter into 2 additional years if it's amenable to both the city and the tenant. With that, I would stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Public comment. See none, close public hearing. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Does council have any questions or comments? Councilmember Avery.
We would have some other use for this property that would come along in that year. Do we have any options to?
Yes, so within the lease agreement, if the tenant has planted a crop or such, we will compensate them for any loss of acreage. However, there's a cap on it that it cannot exceed what they would pay us annually. So worst case scenario is if we have a business opportunity and the crops have been planted and the sale happens, we would reimburse them either their input costs or, if it's towards the harvest, end of the growing season, they're not unable to harvest it, then we would compensate them up to their annual payment.
Please call the roll.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Okay, item 10H, public hearing and action on resolution 22-099, a resolution to amend the 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future land use map. Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. This comp plan amendment is proposed Avenue. It's subject to an earlier item that was on the agenda. This is for the Brookings Municipal Utilities Water Treatment Plant Facility. The comprehensive plan identified this area as urban medium intensity. When you look through some of the for that particular land use within our comp plan, it's not real supportive of a large industrial type use like a water treatment facility. Staff has worked with BMU on this, and we would propose a civic land use. Within the civic land use categories, it does allow for public facilities such as a water treatment plant, and feel that that's a more appropriate land use classification. So with that, does come to you as a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission, and staff supports the request as well, and I stand for any questions you may have.
On this item, is there any public comments? Seeing none, please, our public hearing is closed now. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Does the council have any questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Motion passes. Other business, 11A, action on resolution 22-101, a resolution transferring city manager contingency funds to city departments. Senior Finance Manager Ashley Wrench will review this item for us.
Good evening. Resolution 22-101, authorizing a transfer of city manager's contingency funds to other general fund departments. At year end, our department heads analyze a contingency transfer is needed based on where their department's overall budget stands as they estimate their final expenditures for the year. Through this process, the Parks Department identified some contingency needs in the maintenance equipment, gasoline, and diesel lines for a grand total of $20,000. This was mainly driven by some unexpected maintenance costs and fuel price increases during the peak season. Additionally, the Larson Ice Center's boiler was being replaced recently, and a failed pump was identified at a cost of just under $5,000. Staff recommends approval of this resolution as presented, and I'll stand by for any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. Entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, council have any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item 11B, action on resolution 22-103, a resolution to annex 219.37 acres in the northwest quarter and northeast quarter of Section 13, Township 110 North, Range 50 West of the 5th Prime Meridian, Brookings County, South Dakota. Community Development Director Mike Struck will review this item.
The area that is proposed up above in yellow, essentially this is Brookings Municipal Utilities North Wellfield. It does satisfy state law requirements. The existing city limits is the green line there, kind of to the southwest, so it is contiguous. And in discussing with BMU and staff, they just felt that since it's essentially city property, it should be inside city limits, and it does, if approved, it does allow for the potential annexation of land further north of this proposed location should a landowner want to seek annexation in the future. So this is a voluntary annexation that has been brought forward from Brookings Municipal Utilities and voted unanimously to recommend approval, and staff supports the annexation request, and I would stand for any questions you may have.
Thanks, Mike.
So move. Second.
Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, does the council have any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Niemeyer,
Aye.
Specker,
Aye.
Tiltonburn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 11C, action on a revised preliminary plat for Lot 1 in Block 1, Lots 1 through 6 in Block 4 and Block 6 in Southland Addition and 23rd Street South in Bluegill 3rd Edition. Community Development Director Mike Struck will present this item.
Before you tonight is a preliminary plat for the Southland Addition. See the area on the overhead highlighted in yellow. This preliminary plat was subject to some discussion at both the development review team and with the Planning Commission. A little challenging to see, but on the overhead, you can see the Lot 1 up in the upper left portion of this. This is located along 20th Street South and Ace Avenue. And then as you move towards the east, lots 4, 5, and 6 are all commercial lots. And then to the south of there is lots 1, 2, and 3, with 3 being the large parcel. And then there's an additional block down on the south end. And then it does show a future extension for 23rd Street South. When this was presented at the Planning Commission level, there was some concern with the Lot 3 in Block 4, and that our zoning requirements require that you have a minimum of 75 feet of frontage. And as it's shown right now, it only has 60 feet of frontage that comes out to the west. And there's 2 lots to the north of there. When staff presented it to the Planning Commission, they kind of provided 2 options because there's concern not only with the lack of frontage, but there's concern about secondary access in this location, in particular with that Lot 3, which is kind of the larger parcel there in that it's proposed for multifamily. And so our secondary, within our subdivision regulations of secondary access, if there's a certain number of trips that are generated, then a secondary access requirement is triggered. And so there's quite a bit of discussion on whether there should be a shared access drive to the north of Lot 3 between the lots 4, 5, and 6, or if it should be dedicated right-of-way or a shared access. And so those options were provided kind of one or the other. The Planning Commission ultimately discussed with the developer, and the developer proposed to go with the 50-foot shared access route. And so that's what the Planning Commission sent forward with their recommendation. And so that 50-foot shared access would be along the southern boundaries of lots 4, 5, and 6, and along the northern boundaries of lots 1 and 3. Since the Planning Commission's recommendation and discussion, there's been a lot of discussion internally as well, and staff feels it's probably more appropriate to have a dedicated right-of-way there and to extend all the way to the east to 22nd Avenue. And the reasoning behind that is when you start to look at the overall development from 22nd Avenue going west to this subdivision, which is kind of that line just west of Ace Avenue, and then you start coming down south, it's approximately 40 acres. And there's really only one potential access out to the east, and that would be the future extension of 23rd Street South. And as a city, we have really tried to improve connectivity within developments, and we felt that it's appropriate to have a dedicated right-of-way in this area to provide an alternative means for that street connectivity, not only for vehicles, but for bicyclists, for pedestrians, to get to those commercial areas. And in particular, within this subdivision, it's predominantly high-density multifamily housing down in this area. And so we feel that, when it's all built out, it has the potential to have several hundred housing units in this area. And there'd really only be one access out to the north on Ace Avenue and one access out to the east with the future extension of 23rd Street South. So with that, I would stand for any questions you may have.
Motion to approve. I think Councilmember Avery wants to comment.
Yes, I would ask the chairs to read a prepared set of remarks, a brief one. Mike's covered a lot of what is in my statement, but we're just going to go through that. Planning Commission recommended approval of the preliminary plat with a 50-foot shared access easement, as Mike said. Higher density development created in the area causes the need for an additional through street that provides proper ingress and egress for the neighborhood. The City Council's strategic plan identifies a need to increase connectivity between neighborhoods and developments. A required public street that links a collector or arterial street provides an additional public route for first responders, grants pedestrian access, and increases the overall connectivity of the area. I am prepared to make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat subject to a 60-foot right-of-way along the northern boundary of lots 1 and 3, Block 4, and the southern boundary of lots 4 through 6, Block 4.
Is there a second? Okay. Any public comment on this item? Please state your name and address and who you're
Thank you. My name is Justin Booker. I am the engineer of record for the developer, and I would stand for any questions.
Okay. This gentleman. Thank you.
Yes, if I could make a couple comments on my own.
Yes, please.
One, work with the Planning and Zoning Commission during the commission meeting earlier this month, and he did what was asked of him and did pledge to install a 50-foot shared access. So we would request that this preliminary plat is approved as presented.
Any other comments, questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Council have any questions, comments on this item anymore? Any other public comments? Please call the roll.
Specker,
Are we voting on the amendment?
There's no amendment. This is
to approve the action to approve the plat with the additional right-of-way or 60-foot right-of-way, just as
So with
Wayne
the amendment,
explained it,
so
yes.
aye.
Tilden Burn,
Aye.
Wendell,
Aye.
Avery,
Aye.
Collins,
Aye.
Duran,
Aye.
Niemeyer.
aye. Motion passes. Item 11D, action on city council policy, public comment during city council meetings. Our city manager, Paul Brasino, will present this item.
Policy was created for council consideration by a group comprised of council members Avery, Tilton Burn, Collins, the city attorney, and city clerk, and myself. The policy outlines the council chair and speaker's expectations for public comments at a regular procedure is outlined in 4 specific areas that's presented tonight. The first area is the procedure for general comment. A statement will be read and published that's stating the expectations, and we've noted it specific language that includes all speakers are asked to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner within 3 minutes time limit. If obscenities, threats, or inflammatory words are expressed during this meeting, the speaker will be asked immediately to stop commenting. The comments and views expressed by the public are those of the speakers and not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the City of Brookings or the City Council. As noted, the comment period is for 3 minutes for each speaker. The speaker cannot assign their time to others as well. Speaker's name and city residence will be required and asked to be stated. Reasonable accommodations can be made for those that need such accommodations. The chair has the right to interrupt speakers and enforce decorum and rules. The council members, individual council members, also have the right to step in when necessary to control decorum as well. The next section, interruptions and other disturbances, all individuals are required to act with decorum and respect. No person may physically or aggressively threaten, invade the privacy of individuals, be unreasonably loud, and be so disruptive as not to interrupt meetings. The next section, violations, and once again, I'm just giving very high-level details of this plan. Under violations, the chair can give a warning. If the individual continues, they may be removed. Removal can be escalated based on the situation and the needs of the chair or city council. Prohibited conduct does include violation of the city, state, or federal law, interruption of speakers, name-calling, boisterous remarks, yelling excessive loud commentary, offensive use of abusive, obscene, profane, or threatening language or gestures, provoking a breach of the peace, intimidation, threaten or harm persons, or damage or destroy property. The final section, response to public comments. I would note that when the open forum period is closed, no additional public comments pertaining to the items will not be heard unless approved by the council or the chair. City council will generally listen rather than respond to comments. City staff recommends approval of the policy as written. I would also Avery Collins, city attorney or city clerk, for any additional remarks I might want to make on the policy.
Entertain a Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, does council have questions or comments? Councilmember Tilton Burn.
Members that participated in helping to draft this language, I would say we were very thoughtful in crafting this and coming up with a policy that would allow very open public comment period, time that would allow folks to come forward and share their thoughts and ideas, but to do so in a way that's respectful and appropriate for the chambers. I think a lot of these policies we've kind of already have in place, such as the time limit and asking those who've gone beyond their time limit to no longer speak. So this kind of formalizes some of those things that are already practiced within our meetings. But this is hopefully a way that helps folks understand the expectations when they come to a meeting rather than maybe finding those out in the midst of a meeting.
Becker.
Yes, I worked on this, Holly and Paul and Steve, but to me, it's important, and I know this is part of the new policy, that what's being broadcasted will now have the banner that states that the views that are being expressed during public comment are not necessarily that of the city council or the city of Brookings, which I think is very important for this policy, and I appreciate that part. Thanks.
I was work on this. There's a few things I didn't agree with. One I would say is the opening comments made by the chair. I don't agree with that, and I don't agree with putting anything on the TV or on the prior to whenever somebody talks, whatever that saying is. So, thank you.
Councilmember Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On page 4, under interruptions and other disturbances, C, offensive use of abusive, obscene, profane, or threatening language or gestures. Is there a legal definition that covers those terms? Because I noticed in in B, it says as determined by chair. So I wondered with C if that was a legal definition.
It's not. It's a compilation of court decisions that we've read where there was conduct and it was characterized as either protected by the First Amendment or not protected by the First Amendment. So it might be viewed at this point as a little bit of an ad hoc listing of conduct. I think we might be able to develop kind of an analytical framework to kind of get a better handle on that as time goes on. And I understand the nature of the question, and I think we can probably help the council and the chair navigate that because everybody would probably maybe have a slightly different opinion of acceptable or unacceptable conduct. But again, this is going to be very restrictive because of the wide purview of the First Amendment protections.
Any other comments or questions by the council? Please call the roll.
Tilden Burn.
Aye.
Wendell.
Aye.
Avery.
Aye.
Collins.
No.
Duran.
Aye.
Niemeyer.
Aye.
Specker.
Aye.
Okay, that pretty much takes care of the business tonight. Introductions of topics by council. Seeing none, we have a meeting coming up on January 10th. We have obviously a second reading with item 9A that we crossed tonight. Get designated depositories and designated official newspaper and the consent agenda. Probably have an SDSU's Association report. I have a proclamation. And Chief Drake is going to provide us a Humane Society agreement for 2023. And then we do also have a land transfer of land event on that evening. Otherwise, unless there's any other comments by council, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.